Hello and welcome back to the Pride Pod here on Loud and Proud Orlando. The season has ended. We got some major news yesterday. We have not had a podcast since the final game of the season where we lost in the semifinal to Gotham. And then yesterday, a big piece of news dropped that I'm sure we're all going to want to talk about. Before we get into that, I want to introduce my co-host, Luis, who was not here yesterday, and we're sorry that we're podcasting on a Wednesday, but Luis yesterday was at the U.S. men's national team game in Tampa, and that's why we moved the pod over here. Luis, I know you're tired, but we appreciate you being here after a long week and got lots going on covering for Loud and Proud Orlando.
Yeah, well, thanks to everybody that's watching. A little tired, but ready to talk some Pride. And obviously the news are very unfortunate, but guys, we'll dive into all of that in just a few.
Yes, indeed. Alrighty. If you want to bring up the agenda, we'll kind of give people the rundown of the day. We're gonna start off talking about the semifinal, kind of get into the weeds of what happened in that game, what things went wrong, what things went well, and kind of how we ended up with the 1-0 loss. And then, of course, we got to talk about Haley Carter stepping down. That was the huge piece of news yesterday that Orlando Pride dropped on us, which then leads us to some big offseason questions. Then we're going to get check in with U.S. women's national team as they are heading into town. They will be here this weekend to play the U.S. women's, or is it next weekend? I can't remember. To play an Inter and Co. And then finally, we're going to talk about the NWSL GM survey and the results of that, which came out, which was done by ESPN. So some interesting conversations around that as well. All right, Luis, we got to do it. We're going to get into it and talk all about the 1-0 loss to Gotham in the semifinal. Heartbreak right at the end. Jaden Shaw with the free kick in the 97th minute to take Gotham through on a 1-0. We said it was going to be a tight game. We said it was probably going to have one goal in it. It just didn't go our way. Your opening thoughts on the semifinal loss to Gotham?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tense battle. I think it was a very contested game. I think both teams were having chances. I think Orlando had the most influential chances and they didn't capitalize. Orlando playing at home and being the defending champions had probably higher expected goals than Gotham. And definitely we had more shots overall. Gotham's defense did a great job. Orlando's defense, the few Gotham got, they were able to neutralize. Obviously, great job by Haley McCutcheon and Ali Limos trying to contain Esther. I thought, unfortunately, and again, I don't want to sound like a broken record or a Debbie Downer. I think Anna Morehouse could have done a little bit more on that goal. I think, just like people were ready to move away from Pedro Galese in the boys' side, I think in the women's side, I think it's time to maybe look at other options in the goalkeeping corps, because whether that was a penalty or not, which we'll discuss later, I think it was not a very impressive, you know, it was not a very impressive free kick or shot. And it just was the exclamation point, and whoever would have scored that goal was going to win the game. Gotham knows how to defend, and they showed it, and then they held the 1-0 goal. Also, there was a lot of more expectations for Jacquie Ovalle, I feel. But again, it's her first season with the club, and she's not really a winger, in my opinion. I think she should be free and as a 10. But we'll discuss all that. But it was very hard. It was a heartbreaker, and also there were a lot of fans that came from Tampa, Daytona, Jacksonville. There were people from Tallahassee. There were Orlando City fans with their first, watching their first Pride game. And one thing I will say is that those people are probably going to be back because, I mean, and we'll discuss, I'm sure, Haley's legacy in a little bit. But I mean, it was you could tell they wanted to win. They fought for every ball they could. They were obviously they didn't have a lot of pace at certain times, but they gave their 120% out there. And unfortunately, soccer is really cruel. And but we'll move on. I'm hoping Washington is able to win this, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, the stats, really kind of lean in our favor. I think, I think losing this game. Do I feel unjust that we lost? No. Do I feel like we really should have won? No. It was one of those games where it was going to go one way or the other in these tight margins, in these moments in either box, and we got those moments wrong. And I think you're totally right. I mean, I think as a group, we didn't have the best game anyway, but there were definitely key moments from key players that cost us the win. And I think, you talked about both of them there. Anna, we'll talk about the goal in a minute, but I want to kind of go chronologically. If we talk about the early chance that Jacquie Ovalle couldn't put in from a few yards away, then there was another one later in the game that she definitely should have scored. So I think if you're talking about a player that we spent 1.5 million on and had, not, I wasn't putting all the expectations on her, but at least some expectations to be able to come in and make a difference for the rest of the season. This was the moment in this game where you really need her to step up and show some quality, and to not be able to finish like really not even that difficult chances was just disappointing to see. And I think, I'm not going to say like I blame her for the loss because it's not all on her, but the moments that were best for us to score landed to her and she didn't take them. And for a player with that price tag, she has to take them. So it's, as much as you don't want to put that pressure on them, there is that pressure. And as a player that is supposed to be called the magician, you need to be able to finish those easy chances. And then at the other end, I think, like we've said many times with Anna, there's just this capacity for these errors, these issues to happen. And in this game, she didn't have to make any saves until this one shot. And let's look at it on the video here, because a lot of people, I think have different opinions about whose fault it is. I think me and you are kind of more in the camp like, what is Anna doing? And really, she needs to be the one who's responsible for several things, like setting up her wall. So if there's a question mark about how many people are in the wall, that needs to come from Anna. She needs to be communicating that. She needs to be signaling that. If they're supposed to have somebody on the back post, right? If the ball's going to go over and get deflected, and that's the plan where she's going to stay centered because there might be a deflection, then she needs to have a defender on the back post who's going to stay there to cut off that direct shot that we had, because it was a good shot from I forget her name now. Was it Ryan? Jaden Shaw. Thank you. It was a good shot from Jaden Shaw, but it wasn't like the best. And yeah, like Carrie Abello is involved in there somewhere. Like her head goes near it, but I genuinely think Carrie did the right thing. I think if she'd have headed it, she probably would have knocked it right over Anna's hands and into the back of the net herself. So it's a difficult situation. But what I come down to with Anna and so many of these moments is the technique. And if you watch in this video as we play it back, I just think she constantly tries to do something like stick a leg out when really I just need her to actually be getting down to the ground and making a save. And when you have your body in those good positions, like I say about goalkeepers, get your body behind the ball, get down and try and make the save. You're in the right position anyway. And so for her not to do that, that's really what frustrates me. Let's take a look at it and you guys can. I think when you see it from the angle behind, I don't know if it's on this replay. We'll have to see. But I've seen it from I think it's a Gotham social media angle or something.
Right here.
Yeah, is it here? I don't like to criticize her. I was big proponent of hers a couple seasons ago. Like I would stand up for her a lot when she was making these mistakes. She had a great season in 2024 and really didn't make any of these mistakes. But I think a lot of the time, her decision making and just often I find her last second shot stopping is great, but when she has time to think about it, I think she's not doing the right things. And for me, I go back to that technique and I get frustrated watching goalkeepers trying to save stuff with their feet all the time when really they just need to get down to the ground and use two hands and get their body behind the ball. But that's just me. Luis, what is your kind of 2 cents?
Well, the ball bounced just in the 6-yard box on a wide angle, and she should have been able to adjust if the free kick was on a wide angle. I just think that just for the ball to slip her, to me, it's just not. To me, it's just bad positioning from her. I think it has to come from her. And unfortunately, this goal came in the worst time, and that's the goal who pretty much, everything spun from there. Now Marta is thinking, well, am I coming back? Am I not coming back? She's saying she's coming back. We don't know what the status of that, and then Haley, the Haley news. So I do feel like we can't have that anymore. I think we need to maybe look for other options, at this point. That's just my opinion. I don't know if I'm being
Yeah,
too harsh, but I
I've
feel like it's not all her blame. Obviously, I think the Pride had enough chances, but if you ask my objective opinion about that specific play, I blame some of it to the keeper, at that point.
Yeah. I mean, there's many factors here for sure, but I just think, like we discussed, I mean, it's not a good look, especially from this angle we just showed from behind. You can really see the technique is not good there. I think also it wasn't really a free kick in the first place, but NWSL refs are consistently bad. This ref was bad. Made several calls throughout the game that were just non-calls, people falling over and her calling it every time. I think she shouldn't be reffing the semifinal in the first place, but here we are. And then if you get the free kick and you're in the 97th minute, you've got to see out the game. You've got to deal with the free kick. And I think what comes back to what we're talking about with Anna is your goalkeeper needs to organize your back line. They need to be shouting orders at their defenders, telling them where to be, instructing them. If you've watched enough soccer, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't see that from Anna at all. I don't see her communicating with the back line. I don't see her telling them where she needs them to be. I don't see her, and I might be wrong about this, but I just don't think the center backs and her have that good communication. I think when you watch this ball go in the back of the net and the way that they react, is pretty telling that they're like, oh, Anna did that thing again. She does where she just didn't make a save. And I see that look on their face quite a
Yeah,
lot. And I've seen it a
100%.
lot this season. So I'm just a little tired of it. So
And the
you know,
way
not to single a single player out, because like I said, I think also Ovalle is to blame at the other end, right? This game came down to 5 margins, and Ovalle did not put the ball in the back of the net at the other end. But as a group, we didn't put the ball in the back of the net. We knew that we struggled scoring goals, like, and that was going to be an issue for us. And that's what this game came down to. We didn't score a goal. We left the door open. And even though they only had one shot on target, that's all it took. And it was this one free kick. You know, we needed to have more shots on target ourselves. We needed to really show some quality in the final third ourselves without Banda, like we managed to do earlier in the playoffs. We managed to do at the end of the season, but it just kind of ran out when it came to this game. Not like, you know, Gotham's defense was that incredible. I just think we choked. Like, we did not take our chances.
You know, I also want to add, you know, I think when it comes to that, it wasn't a goal or was a goal in regards to the play. What it comes from the ref is mainly that this was a kind of like, you know, the ref during the whole entire game allowed a lot of physicality throughout the match, letting the ball and letting the ball play, you know,
Yeah.
and which made the late whistle for the foul on Rose Lavelle feel a little inconsistent to the Orlando side, right? And so,
Yeah.
like, she was trying to kind of compensate some
It
of
was a
the
horrible touch by Ovalle that led to the
right,
non-foul. I gotta say that, like,
100%,
Ovalle made a horrible touch in her own half that caused her
right.
to foul or not foul, right?
Now, mind you, kudos to the mid of Orlando Pride that they had Lavelle and Esther very well contained throughout the first half.
Yeah.
There were some, you know, obviously as the game becomes more tedious in the second half, they kind of lost the grip on them being able to mark Lavelle correctly. So Lavelle with space, she's gonna be a threat 100%, and so that's exactly what happened. But you know, it was just a cruel result. I mean, this season the Pride had to battle injuries of their star. They weren't able to really sign players that would catapult to have a maybe a double. You know, like, again, I don't want to sound mean. That's not my intention. I'm just objectively giving my opinion. I feel the signing of Chalufia was a mistake, you know, on that right flank. If Barbara Banda would have had more help in the attacking third, I don't think she would have gotten injured because she was doing a lot of double duty. That will trickle down into changing the back line all the time. That will trickle down to, you know, on the left side, who do you have now before Ovalle came in? Now, is Ovalle a winger? The being able to assess the physicality from the Mexican league, in which it's not at the same level as the American league, with all due respect, and I'm saying very objectively. They're not in the same level of even height and even strength, in my opinion. You know, is she really a winger? Because we saw against Gotham, she was literally every tackle she'll miss the ball was gone out of her feet, just with
Yeah.
the with a slight, you know, contact
Mhm.
from the Gotham's backs. They will just push her off. You know, she tried to be a little bit more physical. Now, that can improve with off-season training of getting used to the league. And I'm sure her muscle mass is going to improve probably by doing a whole preseason with the Pride, you know?
Mhm.
So I am
I
not saying
mean,
in any way that she's a terrible player. I'm not saying that at all. I think she should be given the benefit of the doubt, but I kind of would like to see her on a more of like what magicians do. Iniesta was called also, you know, a magician.
yeah.
Xavi was called a magician. Riquelme was called a magician. because they were the true tens. And I kind of feel she has that aura in her to be a ball distributor and a long range player. Because if you look at her goals from Mexico, obviously for Mexico, she was in a different level. And also her shot from distance, we haven't seen a lot of that, and I think we need to see that more. I have faith in her. I think next season she'll be great. I just think this season was for her to get her feet wet into the league. But now with Haley leaving, I don't know where that's going to take. Are they going to continue this legacy that she's leaving? Because the ceiling is super high now. I mean, whoever comes takes over, they're going to have to inherit all of this. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ovalle, I agree on all of that. I think was able to do things in the Mexican League she's just not able to do here. Definitely it's a physicality thing or a speed thing, and she has the attributes to have that sort of creator mentality and be the magician, like you say, be that technical provider in the middle of the park. And then you got to put her in the 10 to do that. We've seen Marta on the wings, so I don't really think that would be an issue if we played a 4-2-3-1 and you had Jacquie as your Croy Bethune, right? In that scenario, I think she has got similar stature to other players in the league. Like there are other players that are a similar size to her, so it's not like she can't compete in this league, but you have to know how to be able to do certain things, and you have to have a little bit more strength about you. You have to know, can I, ride a challenge? Can I go past a player? Stuff that she did in Mexico, she might not be able to do here. And it's just about that time adjusting, and hopefully with a full off season, she's going to come back a little bit more, ready to go and a bit tougher and a bit grittier, because the fact that she loses the ball constantly is not good. Her technical ability, you can see the way she dribbles, the way she crosses, the way she passes, she's got all that. But we need her physical assets, and she needs to be used in the right way. Probably not as a winger. I agree, because she just doesn't have that speed to go around a player. Let's see how all that goes. I think on this game, I don't really have anything else to say. It was a game of tight margins, and we got it wrong, and Gotham just had that one moment, and they're into the final. But I think the Spirit will, comfortably beat them. I think Spirit are a much better team.
Unfortunately, the Pride knew after losing their chances that they missed that this was going to become whoever scores first wins. I mean, you could tell by when Gotham scored, the rest of the squad kind of was like, you know what, that's it, and it's terrible, but again, Haley has left the building with a really high ceiling.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see who's going to take the reins next, and if they're going to overcome and surpass that mark that she's left. Now, when it comes to, just to end this, to talk about Ovalle, she is capable of. She's very technical. She can do a back heel pass to herself and then hit the ball with her right, the inside of her foot, and have a curler of a goal. But she's having difficulty in this league, in which left backs and right backs are super strong, wingers are super fast, and probably in height as well, a little bigger than her, and used to that back and forthness, sometimes playing in a 5-back system, 4-back system, right? That win back role. She cannot take them 1v1. She can certainly take in 1v1 and try to do a pass through the side or a pass through the back to find somebody that has more space. But what she was doing in Mexico, which was taking the players on in her first season, we've not seen that enough. I feel like as a true 10, kind of like what, if you follow Orlando City, Mauricio Pereira used to do, or like even right now, Martin Ojeda does. Somebody that's going to distribute the ball and also have those not only goal contributions, but also goals and majority, because they're so close to the strikers. They're going to have some of those shots from distance that she excels at because she's such a technical player. So I think that hopefully whoever comes, is able to get the best, because I do feel Orlando needs two new wingers, two new starting wingers that's going to complement and help the great defensive. I mean, they have great defense. I mean, Orlando has, to me, underrated best defense in the league. And we'll go from there. But I think Washington's going to win this. And well, no, we'll go from there.
You want to read some comments, Luis?
Sitch, how about comments? Thank you, sir. Shinta, and I just had to keep it together for one more minute. Correct. I am glad I was blacked out drunk for the duration of the game. Oh, wow. How well said words. Shinta, I would like to sign Missimo, but I think she's going to Denver. She's the AM. This is the manager. I don't know. AM. Marta's replacement we need. There you go. Oh, at the moment. Okay. I see a lot of movement this season. I doubt the locker room is very happy with the shit Hines pulled in the Challenge Cup. This Shinta. Your head coach is upset for Orlando Pride. I don't know. Hopefully not. I love Ovalle to death, but we needed to get her in the gym. Yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, she has to be a little faster, but she'll be used to it. GM spends 1.5 million on Ovalle, then dips. Wonder how that's gonna work with Ovalle, says Shinta. Shinta, she's a FIFA ranked ref. It wasn't offside. She always takes a step to the wrong side. As I'm talking about Anna, and is always late. Happened way too many times. New GM better be watching time to send her home. It says VAR, too many offsides, says Sidge. Orlando Pride, the referee's no good, and the player got hurt in the field. That's why there's a red card. The Sidge. There you go, my friend. Appreciate you. I'm ready for an entire overhaul, a goalkeeper spot change, and coach too, says Shinta. The folks who were standing right in front of me on the wall will not come back, or if they do, they won't bring their tiny children anywhere near me because I was drunk. Oh, wow. Gotta track the ball. It was really poor setup, terrible keeping. Kim have that in the semis. I completely agree with you, 100%. So thank you so much for your guys' comments. Appreciate you. But yeah, with that, now the news, the breaking news that honestly I thought I was never gonna be. I thought this was not gonna happen until maybe the following 2 seasons. But again, then thinking about it and talking to John too, knowing about how she is and how she works, it's probably bigger things for her to fix. She already fixed Orlando Pride. And we'll talk all about that, about Orlando Pride VP of Soccer Operations and Sport Director Haley Carter to step down from the role. Sad news for me because I think she's a tremendous. She was probably the best thing that's ever happened to this franchise. Not to take it away from Seb Hines, but I think her and Seb work very well together, and she also is a very good motivator. She's also a very good. She knows the game inside and out. She's very forward thinking, and sometimes a coach needs a little bit of have that GM role telling you, hey, maybe I think this is a good idea too. Why don't we try this? And then you become a unit and you work together for the better of your crest and your brand. And then that's what Seb and her did. And they took this club from being, and I have some of the accolades. So just to read this, pre Haley Carter era, 2016 to 2022. They made the playoffs once in 2017. They missed the playoffs in all other season. They finished bottom half of the table frequently. The club went through multiple head coaches. They signed a lot of high-profile departures, like Alex Morgan, Ali Krieger, Ashleen Harris. They were more concerned on taking pictures together and posing and doing model photo shoots. I remember that time because that's what they were doing. It's all it was. It was just a catwalk, and that hampered continuity. And there was a history also of off-field issues. Say hello to Disney World, Miss Alex Morgan, and instability that impacted the players' welfare. And then there was certain uncertainty. It was a destination for players to move away from just playing on having a bigger expectations. It was a club. Okay, this club's going to pay me in time. They have the money. I'm just going to go there and then eat my Mickey Mouse ice cream. There was really no investment in resources, no scouting, no player. The player care was inconsistent compared to teams like North Carolina, for example, at that time. Like even Washington when they first came in the league. One playoff appearance, 2017, no major trophies. Now take it to Haley Carter coming in 2023 in 2 years. After rebuilding the 2023 season, they obviously missed the playoffs by numbers. 2024, they won the Shield, best regular season record ever, NWSL Championship. They got the NWSL double. They reached the playoff semifinals in 2025. Also, they did the most impressive transfers probably in the whole entire soccer world with Barbra Banda, Elizabeth Ovalle, Jacquie Ovalle. Also, all the core team has long-term contracts. And, it fostered a continuity of this culture. And then not only that, she brought this U.S. Marine mentality of professionalism, stability, player welfare, turning the Pride into an attractive destination for elite players. And all of that in the span of 2 years. And to give the mic to John, NWSL record unbeaten streak of 18 matches. And the attendance used to be 500 people plus the staff has become, I think the last read on this last game, which is semifinals, about 16,000 people. So in 2 years, guys, night and day. So John, you take it away. I was heartbroken, but then thinking about your her as well. Where is she heading next?
If I know Haley, it's something big. It's something really big. I joked that she'll be named president of NWSL, but that would not surprise me in one shape or form, mainly because I think we'll talk about later, there's a lack of, faith in leader Jessica anyway, but I think that she is destined, Haley, for that kind of level of responsibility. She is destined to be president or head of some very important soccer operation in the women's soccer world, or even in the men's soccer world. I wouldn't, MLS are talking about getting rid of Don Garber. Haley Carter would be top of my list to run MLS. Like
that'd be amazing.
Any job in soccer, globally here in US, maybe she's gonna go be a GM somewhere, but I don't. My guess is that it's not that. My guess is it's moving to being president of some kind of league or some kind of very large, important soccer. I don't know what, but that's my guess. I really feel like this was not anything to do with her relationship with the club. I know there's people have speculated about, have we not given her what she requires? I don't think that's true at all. I don't think there's any point where we haven't backed Haley. I mean, we're just talking about Ovalle coming in for 1.5 million. I know that she went to the Wills for the Bandas and for Ovalle's and asked them for the money, and obviously they gave her the money and they backed her in that way. And She's been working with Seb, and there's a good relationship there. I think she has issues with the league. She doesn't like the league a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe she just doesn't want to be in NWSL anymore. Maybe she wants to go be in another league, do something different, or maybe she just, for personal reasons, wants to go do something else. Right? It's a lot. Like, we forget how much it is to do what her job is, and so exhausting. I think 2024, she put so much of herself into the job. I know she took a little bit of a step back in 2025, but she's one of these people that just lives, breathes, sleeps the job. So we were so lucky to have her while we did, but also, she was always going to go on to bigger and better things. It's sad that it's only, after 2 years, but hey, I mean, in those 2 years, she brought us success. She did what she said she was going to do. I mean, I was looking back at the signings she's made, and she comes in on January 30th, 2023, and right after that, first signing she makes is Carrie Abello. I mean, then you've got Summer Yates coming in. Then you've got Julie Doyle, Macron, Haffa, like there, Anna Morehouse, etc. Like, some of these are extended, some of these are players she brought in, but she made all those right moves in that 2023 window that set us up for that season. That then she really just tweaked it for 2024, bring in Banda, and then we had the great season this time around. Really, we had a top 4 roster. If we had Banda fit, we might have won the NWSL again this year. We don't know. So in terms of what her job is to do, build the roster, but not only build the roster, build the staff, build the academy, build so much. Like, in 2 years, she has created an entire structure of what Orlando Pride will be for centuries from now. So, if we're going to look back a long time from now, what her legacy is here at Orlando Pride, yeah, it's the 2 first trophies. It's that first winning roster she put together, but it's also the foundations that she has laid to set standards for what this club is and what it will be for the next, 50, 100 years. So gutted, absolutely gutted that she's gone. She is
Tremendous, man.
by far the most impressive GM I've ever seen in any, club, men's,
Me
women's,
too.
doesn't matter. Any
Me too.
team that I've watched, international, doesn't matter. I've met a lot of GMs in my time, and seen a lot of them operate, and she was the most impressive, hands down. I've never seen anybody
Super.
be so driven and so, I just able to achieve things. I don't know what the word is for that. I can't think right now, but she got done, right? That was Haley, right? It was not, I'm going to come in and say I'm going to do stuff. It was, I'm going to come in, I'm going to say I'm going to do stuff, and then I will back it up and I will bring results. And that's ultimately what her job was. And that's what she did. So I wish her all the luck in the future. And like I said, absolutely gutted and sad that she's left us.
Yeah, she's not only very good at what she does. I agree with you in the sense that she's, to me, the best signing Orlando in soccer. I mean, this is men and women teams have had in years. I think since the inception of both teams. And she's a very forward thinking person. And what I take the most about her is, like, it's easy to talk and communicate with her. It's easy to open up to her, which is was probably made her so liked and welcomed by many in the staff and in the team, and a very humble person. So even though she has that title, she is also deep inside that person understands. And aside of that,
Oh yeah, she really wanted to
she's
win,
also an athlete. So she's
always.
thinking for the athlete's well-being as well.
Yeah.
And you don't get, and again, just like John, I've seen
Yeah. There's
directors
not a
of
lot of GMs
affiliate.
that are out there fighting for their athletes like she does. No way.
She doesn't there you don't see GMs that fight for the athlete. And that to me deserves a lot of respect. If she has other plans and there's other opportunities because she had, I think, she will remain, I think, with the club through 2026. She had an option for 2027. Um, I hope it's something huge. You know, it could be like I said, like John was saying, NWSL president. I hope MLS. You know, Don Garb is a horrible. I think Haley Carter will work just fine. Maybe I'm gonna go coach. Maybe she's gonna be the GM of my WSL team. You know, Chelsea. You know, maybe she goes to Chelsea. I don't know. We'll see. But I know that she's gonna leave a huge void here. But like just like John said, she's left the groundwork for this organization to continue for many years, and we hope we one day see her back again. You know, so yeah. It is
I mean, I
here.
think.
Who's even
Sorry,
Julia Meffin 6241. Thank you so
hi
much, Julia.
Julia. Thank you for
Appreciate
being
you.
here.
Who is even available to take over from Haley? It says here. Uh, it says Haley's irreplaceable. We will never have another like her, says Kim Scott. Thank you, Miss Kim. Appreciate you. Apart from being devastated by Haley leaving, I wonder if this career offer came out of the blue. She had a signed extension to her contract for 2 more years, says Julia. Thank you, Julia. Appreciate you. Yeah, you're right. We're gonna read the rest of the comments, but John, what? I mean, I'm, yeah, I think the fandom and also me as a journalist, there's a lot of uncertainty because the OGs, and I'm talking to you, OG Pride fan, we've seen the dark side. We've seen the pre Haley Carter years. We cannot allow for them to go back to that.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I think what made Haley so good was she was a soccer player, but she was also, she's a lawyer and she was in the military, and like she had, she had all of these different aspects about her that wasn't just like, hey, I'm just like an executive, right? She was she was able to use so many different parts of her understanding to kind of be that super like GM. And she wasn't even a GM before this. This is the first time she'd ever done this job. So often when we're going out and looking for GMs, you're looking at like who was a GM or like who got let go by other NWSL teams. And like kind of like Haley proved that like you don't need to look at that. In some ways, the best candidate maybe is someone that you've never, hasn't even been a GM before. So usually in this scenario, what the club will do is they'll have a hiring company that they've already engaged in this situation that's out there, I'm sure right now, looking for a replacement GM. I don't know if they knew about this ahead of time, whether the Wilf Group and Mark Wilf, whether they knew Haley was leaving, ahead of time, and they were just waiting for this announcement till the end of the season. In which case, they've been looking for a while. Who knows? It depends really what she's going to do and how that came about. Did she just get the, whatever role she's leaving for in the last week, or has this been planned for months? I think that there are GMs that are going to be coming from Europe. There's GMs that would have worked for, major women's soccer clubs in Europe we could look at. There's ex NWSL GMs we could look at. I think it's going to be whoever steps in is going to have a very, very difficult time because you're stepping into some massive shoes that are like we said, almost impossible to fill. Like how do you do an even better job than she did? But we're going to have to find someone, and we're going to have to find somebody fast. We'll talk in a minute about the roster, but from a big picture point of view, most of our players are here through this season. So Haley has left us in a good place because she renewed so many players throughout this year to make sure that they were here for next year. So maybe that's a sign that she knew this was coming, or maybe it's just because she was a really good GM who was always prepared for the future. We don't know, but as of right now, we don't need to do a massive rebuild. I would like to make some changes in the roster, but we're not in a situation where we're dying to make roster changes and we don't have a GM. We don't know what to do. We can kind of take a little bit of time make sure we get the appointment of the GM right, and then, you know, give them some time to make a few tweaks here and there, but they're not having to do a huge amount of work. If we were going to go into the new season with this same roster, we would technically be fine.
Yeah, you know, we'll see where
Does the
Haley
chat
goes.
have any GMs that you know in WOSO that you're like, I think anybody we talk about is just going to be a lesser candidate than Haley was.
I
So for me,
agree.
I'm
That's
hard to
that's
get
the
excited
toughest
about
part. That
who
that
her
is,
replacement is, you know.
you know, I really feel like Haley is the best GM the league has, and I mean, I think I really don't. I mean, people are saying here in the comments, as a season ticket holder from day one, says Julia, we have been there for the times we were in a black hole. Haley took us out of that and became a shining shine for the Pride. I completely agree with you.
For
I don't
sure.
think there's anyone here in the U.S. I completely agree.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. It's like yeah.
Yeah.
One
I
name.
you
Well, there's
know,
a few names that are of US that I don't really want, but would, you know, if we're talking about like odd candidates, Kate Markruff, who was the GM of US Women's Soccer in 2023, I believe has still not got a job, would potentially be a candidate. Lucy Rushton was let go by BSC earlier this year, was their GM. Maybe I don't love the way they built their squad, so maybe that's not what we want to go for. But there's not a huge amount of options out there. I think we are an attractive prospect, because who doesn't want to come in and manage a roster that has Banda and, you know, Marta, and, you know, the spending power that we've had and the things that we've done. But it needs to be the right person, and I think there's a lot of bad candidates out there we can go for. And, you know, all of them are going to be not as good as Haley, honestly. But we gotta go find somebody, and I'm just hoping that there's somebody you can come in and work with Seb and do a good job, and not somebody who's going to come in and try to, you know, impose entirely their thing. And I kind of don't want a very old established sort of GM. You know, I don't want a GM that's going to be like, oh, I do things my way. That's not what I want. I think we need to kind of have somebody that fits in the culture of what Orlando Pride is, and what the culture Orlando Pride that Haley set up. And we don't want to have this massive rupture in all of this positivity that we have around the club and the players and the culture that we built. You know, that's the most important thing. So the new GM, if they come in and wreck that because they're just whatever personality, that's the worst hire we can make. If we hire someone who's just like a very average GM, you know, they might not be the end of the world. I think a lot of the scouting has been done by Haley's scouting team, which is all here, right? All of the networks that she's set up. Like, there's nothing in this press conference about her taking her staff with her. So the scouts are here. All the people are here that set it all up, to do the groundwork underneath Haley. She's the one making the decision, sure. So you just need a new good leader that can run that team, and you'll still be able to kind of produce the same level of scouting and recruitment.
look, there are rumors. There are rumors, and again, I want to accentify the rumor word that that people are saying online. You know that Atlanta may be a destination too. That she be able to build a
I would hate if she went to Atlanta.
newly announced
That would
NWSL
be
expansion team.
that would feel like a betrayal in many ways. Yeah,
You think so?
I mean, I wouldn't, not like from her business point of view, because like it's a job, and there's another opportunity, and she wants to go build a team from scratch and all of that. I can't hate that. But from a fan perspective, to leave to go, you know, work the setup, which will potentially be one of our biggest rivals, it's like, oh, that hurts. So I really hope it's not Atlanta, but it could be. it's a very attractive prospect. I mean, Arthur Blank and everything that they're going to do, they haven't built a women's soccer stadium. That's one thing I would say. They got a lot of money, but they're still playing in the freaking American football stadium. But maybe we'll see. I don't think it's either of the incoming teams. It's not Boston. It's not Denver, because they would have tried to bring her in before this date. It's too late for that, in my opinion. So watch this space.
Or she's taken over, and I mean, there could be a lot of. I mean, it could be also the USL. She'd be the USL president. It could be. I mean,
we'll talk in a little bit about the NWSL and the situation they're in. But yeah, there's a lot of places I can see Haley ending up. It's just a question of where she goes. But I do want everyone to be rest assured that I don't think this is something to panic about from a club's perspective. I don't think that we have driven Haley away at all. I don't think her and Seb's relationship is broken down. I don't think she's upset with Orlando Pride. I think she just wants or has an opportunity to go do something really cool and bigger, and it's her time to go do that.
Now, so people understand what kind of person we have running this organization, and I asked the AI just now for the best general managers and sporting directors in women's soccer. I want the top 10.
If number one is not Haley Carter, then AI doesn't know what it's doing.
So I'm going to give you the top 10, and this is per Gemini. I'm using Gemini right now. Number 1, Markel Suizarreta from Kinesis Sports International, which is Olympique Lyon, Washington Spirit, and London City Lionesses. He's the global sporting director. He's the most influential executive in history of modern women's football.
I don't know if that's the best, but it's the biggest.
He was the architect of FC Barcelona Femení. The second one, Paul Green, Chelsea FC Women. Number 3, Ralph Kellerman, the director of women's football of Wolfsburg of the Frauen Bundesliga. Number 4,
a very good team. Yeah.
Number 4, Haley Carter, VP of Soccer Operations, General Manager, Orlando Pride.
Best in North America.
Number 5, Mark Vives, Sports Director of FC Barcelona Femení, Liga F. Number 6, Mark Krikorian, Washington Spirit, NWSL, President of Soccer Operations. Number 7, Jael Averbuck West, Gotham. Number 8, Bianca Reck, FC Bayern, Frauen Bundesliga. So, and number 9, I have number 9 is Niels Nielsen, Director of Football of Manchester City Women. And number 10, I don't know why he's here, Vlatko Andonovski.
Yeah.
Formerly head coach and sporting director of Kansas City Current.
He was both. He's just moved into only being the GM, but he was both.
Yeah. So Vlatko Andonovski's last.
If you that list of teams, like forget the NWSL ones, the list of European clubs are all massive women's soccer clubs. Like they're huge. If we go steal the GM of Wolfsburg, what was that guy's name? That's the kind of thing that now you got me really excited. You know what I mean? Like, and I do think there is a capacity for us to go big, but you're going to have to go to Europe. You're going to have to throw money at a GM, and you're going to have to convince them to come over to the US. Like, it's not like it is in the men's game where it's like, oh, why would a, Bundesliga GM go to the MLS? Totally. There's precedent for WSL GMs. We've seen that, for Frau Bundesliga GMs, for, any of the women's league GMs to be able to look at NWSL and say that is an attractive prospect. Our club just, we've won titles recently. We have a great roster. We've been spending a lot of money. We are an attractive club globally to come and be the GM of. So that's what I would like to see us do, is go after one of the Champions League teams in Europe who have been, producing and bringing talents from, all over, whether that's Europe or Africa or, some from South America, even America. And then say, why don't you come over here and do the same thing for Orlando Pride? If we did that, we'd see a lot more European players coming over on our roster, even more than we kind of did under Haley. I think there's a whole wealth of talent in Germany, France, Spain, that, yeah, they can play in their league, but you could also, tap into that. And if you bring a GM from one of those countries, they bring with them all that scouting knowledge and some connections and whatever, as well. So then potentially that opens doors for us in Europe. For me, I think I'm more excited about bringing in a GM from a top European Champions League club than I would from NWSL, because like we said, in NWSL, Haley is the best. There are other ones, I'm sure, that, if we stole the one from Gotham, or we stole one from Washington or from KC, it would be okay. It would be a good appointment, but it wouldn't be really exciting. I think what would be, exciting is to go out and find somebody who's been developing it in an even bigger stature club than we are.
So, well, I mean, again, if people are throwing out names, I'm going to throw out my name. All right. I feel we getting somebody from Europe, it may be a little complex. It's not impossible, but again, Orlando Pride already has that grassroots and a pipeline, and you know, one GM that I'm thinking here, hey, I don't know, maybe Camille Levin, well, formerly Camille Levin, but Camille Ashton. She was the first Kansas City GM, and then she's right now the GM of San Diego Wave. I don't know. I just think that based on her profile, she's known to be an aggressive recruiter. So making big name splashes for like Davinia Chewinga, and she forces very good turnover to force changes into a squad, and then she's the one who started the whole KC revolution, and then now she goes to San Diego in 2024, and San Diego took off this season. So can we throw money at her? Ashton is cutthroat. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ashton will not accept Anna Morehouse.
What, we got different opinions on your shout here, Luis.
People said Martha should be the new GM. Well, that'd be huge. Bro,
I just love the
actually,
idea of Martha GM
you
like announcing a player,
imagine?
be like, "Look, I brought a player here. Say hello." I love that.
But you imagine if Martha becomes GM of the Pride?
It would be the most entertaining thing. I don't know how good she'd be, but I would love every minute of it. It would, make
I
that a
mean,
documentary, make that
she
a
loves the
Netflix
city.
series, because it would sell. Marta the GM. Yeah, who doesn't want to watch that?
I will go.
Uh,
I think I'm with Julia. I think if you give me no to Ashton, everybody hates my pick. But I'm just
yeah,
thinking
there's
of,
not a lot of popular picks in women's soccer for GM, in my opinion. I don't think there's any really good ones apart from Haley.
I mean, Marta, I don't know how her knowledge of what's happening behind the scenes would be, but I think as an athlete, going from athlete to GM, I mean, it's pretty big job, but I mean, Marta can do it all. Marta can do it all. I have no doubt. Marta
Yeah, I
read
mean,
every other match
we
that.
have people internally that, I'm not saying it will happen, but you could promote your director of scouting. That is an option. We have seen it happen before. Like I said, if they want to keep things internal and we know we have somebody in who could step up into, Haley's shoes, that knows how to run everything and has been there, working with her for many years. That could happen. It's not like, look, that happened with Seb. Sometimes, we just get a promotion internally.
Or
We'll have to
Seb becomes
see.
a GM and get another coach.
Right. I mean, I doubt that would happen. I don't think Seb has any interest in being a GM. I think that's like his nightmare. I think Seb wants to be touching grass at all times. I think if you put Seb in contracts all the time, he'd hate it. But yeah, it
Is it
will
Luis
be.
Pineda for GM? I would love to be
There you
GM.
go, Luis. You'll be our new GM.
You
Problem
know,
solved.
I'll be
Problem
like,
solved.
look, mira Ovalle, ven aquí.
At least Luis, we know if his game would step up because you'd be shouting in
I'll be
Spanish
like,
at her all the time.
here's a.
Yeah. All right.
No, it'd be great. I mean, why not? Seb, the new Belichick, says Gabriel.
Yeah. I mean, look, Seb could be GM and coach. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think we should do that. Like Vlatko has a lot more experience that was doing that. Seb is really only in, his early years of just being a coach. Doesn't really have a lot of experience, I think, in terms of player sales. Maybe I'm wrong, but he's really just a coach. And I think that for me, having those two separate jobs is important. Look how much it is for one person to do just one of the jobs.
It's
Having the
against
same
league
person,
policy.
it's too much. It's too much. It's against league policy. Is that why Vlatko's changing it? Are they changing that rule? Because he was GM and
Yeah,
head coach for the last year for sure. Oh, they let KC slide,
AC
did they?
slide. Oh, gee.
I didn't know that was a league rule, clearly, because they've obviously been violating it for a long
So
time.
now, what are the odds? I mean, I know Haley. Obviously, she's gonna go for bigger and better things. Hopefully, not Atlanta, but even if it's Atlanta, I think she's gonna do great anywhere she goes.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think it's the US. If it is the US, it's like US soccer or NWSL. Like it's the top of the
I hope
pyramid.
it's US. US soccer needs
If
somebody
it's
like
not
Haley.
US, it's like a massive European club. Like she's going to be named GM of Lyon or something.
US soccer needs somebody like Haley Carter, 100%.
I would love Haley to be head of women's US soccer
100%.
or GM or,
I mean,
president of NWSL is my number one. I really hope that that's what happens, but we'll
you have
see.
to
We'll see.
understand her with Haley Carter as the director of soccer operations for the U.S. Women's National Team. I guarantee you, not only there will be on one World Cup, there's going to be probably a couple of more, and there will be another dream team. There's going to
Yeah.
be new stars. There's going to be a methodology. That's what it's called.
Well, she knows full well more than anyone the ins and outs of the league. She's very aware of the limitations we have right now with the, salary cap, et cetera, all of these issues that the league is facing internally. She's aware of all of that. So if I'm the owners of NWSL and I'm looking at replacing the current president, she's top of my list. In fact, she is
Probably
my
going back
list.
to her early NWSL roots in Houston, says One Star FC. I think
It
Sep
could
would
be
hate that
Houston. I
role.
think if it was an emotional thing for her to go to Houston, I would 100% get that. Like that's her club. She wants to go back there and restore it because it's bad. I would understand that entirely.
Julia says, I think Sep would hate that role. It's just not his personality. He's boots on the pitch guy, not shoes in the office. And says, of course, I'm kidding. Says Gabriel, thank you. What else? Let's see. I have, says, please read my comments. Thank you. How about my comments? Okay.
Say we're reading your
Where's your
comments, we
comment, man?
swear.
How about my comment, Sitch? Okay. Where's your comment, Sitch?
We got you, buddy. All right.
I think he got me.
Let's move on and talk about the roster. I'm sure the conversation around Haley is going to continue to come up. But here, I just wanted to point out to everybody the only really free agencies we have coming up are for Simone Charlie And for Carson Pickett, everyone else was renewed at some point throughout the year or still good through 2026. As you can see on this graphic here, all of these are guaranteed players here through 2026. So really, like I said, just Carson Pickett and Simone Charlie are the ones that we're waiting on the end of season, player announcement to come out. Of course, the news from about Haley Carter has probably slowed that process up. I don't think they're going to announce that until maybe the new GM comes, or maybe they will because they already know the situation there. But most of our roster is here next year. So yeah, and like I said, we can kind of roll into next year and not really have any improvements. But we're not really looking at, a team that is bad by any means. I think, we've shown that we're a top 4 team here with Banda back. If we were to go with this roster in the next year, arguably would be a top 4 team again. So I think this is a very strong roster. I think what we need to do now, in my opinion, is do a little bit of tweaking at the bottom end of the roster or in the middle of the roster. Maybe move out some of these squad players that are just not contributing and use some of that money and those wages to bring in younger, hungrier players that have got a chance and can grow, or other NWSL players that are actual rotation options that are going to contribute. Not to single people out, but I think of like Grace Chanda, for example. She is not an NWSL player. We've seen that. Seb doesn't play her in any NWSL games. She played in the
Will you
Champions.
maximize it a little bit?
Sorry, yeah. She played in the Champions Cup, and that didn't really go well either. So I'm kind of wondering, for one, I wouldn't have renewed her contract that Haley did anyway, but I don't think she's on a lot of money, so I don't really mind too much that we did renew her contract. But now I'm like, okay, let's sell her. Like, let's get her out the door so that we can open up that spot, so that we can use that money better. We want to have the squad positions filled with players like Zara Shavashi, players like Simone Jackson, right? Young, hungry players that have got growth in them, that have got potential. I think it's time to move on from some of these other roster filler players that are just not contributing and are not really bringing much to the table. Especially in the forward positions, we've got, yes, Barbra Banda, but we saw without her, none of our forwards really produced goals. And, that's what forwards are there to do. So, Simone Charlie is coming back from injury, yes, but she hasn't really scored goals. Is she going to score goals in the future? And then we look at, Elise Bennett was on a short-term contract. I think she is the other one that won't be here for 2026 because she was just on like a 6-month deal till the end of the year. So we've got a hole, I think, in the striker position, other places as well. But those are kind of my initial thoughts that we saw on where we're at with the roster.
We have Banda coming up. We have Banda coming back. And who else do we have on the striker? Simone Charlie's expiring. Who else?
Simone Charlie is expiring. Elise Bennett is expiring. She was on a short-term contract. Lara Kett is technically coming back from a loan, but her contract is expiring. These are our loan players. Like, we got Morgan coming back from loan, but her contract's expiring. Kat Aspen is on loan until June next year, apparently. Amanda Allen coming back. I don't think we'll extend her. I think all of these. Marissa Mart. Brie Martinez maybe is the only one I could see getting an extension. I would do that. I think she's worth it.
Caroline is not doing so hot this season. Caroline hasn't, but I will bring her back because she was part of the backline and she did really well with us. Another player, I will get rid of all the players you just mentioned that are coming back from loan, except Brie Martinez.
I mean, Ali Watt is the only other one I forgot, but we know
Ali Watt's going to go to Denver.
Yeah.
So
First
Ali
player
Watt's going
Denver
to Denver.
ever signed.
So forever upright, obviously,
Forever
and
purple.
forever purple. Uh, I mean, you gotta be stupid not to sign Carson Pickett back. I mean, she was our one of the best goal scorers in the team this year. So I think Carson Pickett for a 1 year deal, I think that's good. Simone Charlie, thank you so much. Appreciate you. But
Yeah. I
thanks.
mean, look,
You
I love
know,
Simone Charlie as a person, but she's what, 32 years old, 30 years old, coming back from that injury. She hasn't scored a
Elise
goal.
Bennett, I don't think. Elise Bennett, I don't think. You know who I would target? I would target Alex Kerr. She used to play for Orlando. She was doing very hot. Right now, Alex Kerr, she's a stud in the Serie A femenil. Like
Hmm.
she's playing for Cuomo. She's one of the hottest teams there. She
Yeah.
has six, like just in the 2024-2025 season, she scored 6 goals and 4 assists. And the new season just started, 2025 season. 5 games in, 1 goal. So this is a player that has the size, has the physicality for NWSL. She did great in Europe on that stint, and it's not gonna take the spotlight out of Banda. This is a kind of like a player that when she goes in for Banda or when she plays on the two striker deal, she's gonna be able to score. And I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, she's already proven when she played for Orlando. I was surprised for her to leave because I feel like she's definitely was going to be a 1-2 punch without Banda. I think without Banda, she would have probably scored probably more goals. But then she went to Europe. I think working into getting her back, I would rather have her than Simone Charlie and Elise Bennett. I think Alex Kerr put together by herself kind of outscored Simone Charlie and Elise Bennett on the better night of theirs, in my opinion. And it's
Yeah. I mean,
somebody that already knows Orlando. Her family loves it here. She has, so I think it'll be a good decision. I mean, that's a name that I can name out. I just think that whoever takes over needs to realize that we need speed on the flanks. We need to help Banda go back to score all those goals after that bad injury, but also without burning her out because that's what everybody thinks we're going to be doing, you know?
yeah. If we go down this list, I would say Carrie Abello, you know, starter left back, nothing to say there. Elise Bennett, we talked
100%.
about. Luana will be here. Hopefully, we'll play more minutes in 2026. Grace Chanda, I think both Luisa and I would happily, think it's time for Grace to go and try and sell her in this window. Simone Charlie, we said we wouldn't renew her contract. Zara Shavashi is here long term. Great. I think she needs to play more minutes in 2026. Angelina
Whoever
here,
bet,
long term, great. Macron here, backup keeper. Nothing wrong with that. Julie Doyle, I probably think it's time to move Julie Doyle on. I think her production in 2025 was just really lacking, and there's a lot of injuries. Like I said, another one of these players in that part of the roster that maybe it's time to move on from. Corey Dyke, I think, had a great season. It's going to be here for another year. Her and Oyane, both of our right backs, I would think, our right back situation is looking strong. Simone Jackson's here long term. I'm very happy with that. I think she's got a lot of potential. Ali Limas, I don't think should play as much, but is more of a rotation player, in my opinion, than she was playing this much in this year. But again, nothing wrong with her being on the roster as a rotation option. Haley McCutcheon, starter. Anna Morehouse, I would like to sell. Cosette Morche, I would like to start next year as our first goalkeeper. Kylan Danner is most likely pregnant. Can't say it officially, but is most likely pregnant. Elizabeth Ovalle is going to be here and needs to hopefully do more than last year. Carson Pickett, I would bring her back on a deal. I think she's shown enough. Maybe play as a left winger all year, coming off the bench instead of as the left back. Emily Sam's starter. Hafa was given a deal. In my opinion, that was a mistake for how old she is and how long that deal is and how much money I believe she's on. I think she's a great keeper, don't get me wrong, but I think her legs are going. Marta's still here, still hungry. Viv, I would sell. I don't really know what else to say on Viv. Not a useful option, in my opinion. Just a backup.
Well,
And then
Viv,
Ali
I would
Watt's
love
going,
to.
and Summer Yates is here long term.
Yeah, Viv could play in the USL Super League, or or
That's
she
what
can
I mean.
go.
Like, she's just not effectual in NWSL, is she? She's not doing anything when she comes off the
Yeah,
bench. We need game changers that are actual game changers. Some of our bench players are not game changers, and they're not development young players either. They're just rotation options that are there filling out the squad, but aren't actually making us better. Luis, I kind of ran through all of my opinions there on a bunch of players. Did you have anything kind of different on any of these players that you're like, actually, this player I want in and want out? I mean, I feel like I'm always quite extreme, perhaps. I'm always like, get the player out of here if I'm not happy with the way they are. Other people get more attached. Where are you at with, some of these players and who you'd like to sell and who you'd like to stay?
okay, go up. Let's start from the top. Carabello stays. Elise Bennett, thank you so much for your services. Luana stays. Grace Chanda, Sapasena Bule, bye. Simone Charlie, beautiful goodbye. Sarah Shavoshi stays. Angelina Alonso Constantino, I'll have a one-on-one conversation. I tell her, hey girl, I'm going to tell you something. I think you're the future in the Brazilian national team. People really have a high regard. We need to see you eat some sensu beans. You need to go back to where you used to be in 2024, 2023, man. You can't have this version of Angelina. So we're gonna we can
She's a
maybe do
great
1 year.
player, but she needs to be better.
We
Yeah.
can do it. I mean, we can do a year contract, but otherwise, I'm getting another player. McKinley Crone stays. Julie Doyle said, I think she'll fit perfectly in ATL. I think she'll be probably a great addition there as a franchise that just starts, or Denver.
Yeah.
I think
I could also see her going to.
she needs more playing time, and she needs a little bit of more spark on her fire, I feel like.
A new franchise for her to be a
Yeah.
starting right winger would be great.
Corey Dyke stays. Oyane stays. Simone Jackson, I'll just stay. Hailey Lemos stays based on this season. Haley McCutcheon certainly stays. Should be the new captain if I was a GM. Anna Morehouse, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say no to that. I'm gonna have to let you go. I'm so sorry about that. Beautiful goodbye.
There's got to be a WSL team who wants to sign that in Morehouse, right?
100%.
Surely.
Newcastle's always available.
I mean, they're not in the
Cos-
WSL, but they're working their way there.
yeah. Cosette Morche, she did really good when she played for Fort Lauderdale in the USL Super League. I don't know. I think she did. I think she did great when she was there.
The reason I back her, Luis, is because you see in this league how many rookie goalkeepers this year came through and are now like really good goalkeepers.
I
I
agree.
think in NWSL you could break through. So I think I would like to roll the dice with her for a season.
Yep. So Cosette, okay, you could stay. Nadaner, obviously, she's congratulations on the thoughts. My daughter loves that show. Ovalle stays. Carson Pickett, I'll sign her for another season. Emily Sam stays. Raffaele, she's already staying, so there's really no point. I would have moved away if I was if with all the respect. Marta, I will tell her, hey Marta, stay one more season. Please don't leave me. And Viviana, I'll send it to Alianza Lima to go and better the Peruvian league. I'll send her to Alianza Lima. She's half Peruvian. She could play for Peru if she wants to. Peru needs a lot of help, and they'll need a leader. And I think Viv has it. Ali Watt, thank you for your services going to Denver. And Summer Yates, I'll talk to her. And I said, we can sign you for an extended contract for one more season, but we need to see a little bit more production when we put you in, less injuries. Problem is that she's had, I think, 2 major knocks this season, and she missed a lot of games. And when she came back, it just was like she was coming back to be the regular Summer Yates, and then another injury came up. So, it just didn't, it really didn't go into her favor. But I like that. I think we should definitely get more attacking power. I mean, we cannot just solely depend on Banda. And we need to stop being one-dimensional on the counter. And we need to be able to use our attacking third the way it should be. When Adriana was our right back, she had the prowess to take players on 1v1. A lot of fans remember that, but her finishing was really not so good. But with Banda, it was magic, because Banda did the finishing. We need to go back to that. We need somebody on the left that's as powerful. Maybe Marta could be a winger, but I don't know for how long. But I mean, she could do anything. So
yeah, I like the idea of a 4-2-3-1 with Ovalle in the 10 and Marta as a winger and Banda up top, and another winger out there that's like a quality front four that's could do a lot. So we'll see where we go from there. All right, we're running a long pod today, but we got a lot to talk about. I want to touch on one last thing before we go. One major topic here. Jeff Kassouf, Luis. I know you saw him.
I saw him. Yeah, I have a funny story.
The semi-pride game, the semifinal. He
has
written
shorts.
He has written an ESPN article on the GMs. They basically do a anonymous GM survey. They've done it in the last few years, and I wanted to share some of those results with you because it's really interesting. The first question, they asked them about the salary cap, and so 85% of the GMs, there's only 15 in the league, so 85% of them, 13 out of 15, I believe, said that they were asked the salary cap is 3.5 million per club for the 25 season. It is now set through 2030. Do you worry the cap will hold the league back from competing with those European clubs that can pay players without such limits? And 85% of the GMs said yes. And only 15% of them said no. The second question they were asked was, now that players must consent to trades, how much has it changed the way that deals work and in what ways? They asked them, is it, limited transactions more? Has it improved trading conditions? Has it changed? Or is there more transparency? Is the players forcing more trades? 33% of them said that is limited transactions more now that there's, obviously consent to trades. They asked them the last almost every GM said that every team follows, not every team follows the rules. The league said it would start cracking down on rule breaking after Angel City got fined 200,000 and docked points. And so they asked them, do you think teams are still breaking the rules? And 67% of them said yes, 27% said no, and 6% said unsure. So most of the GMs there believing that cheating is happening in the roster building. Question 4 was asking them about Jessica Berman, the current NWSL commissioner. They said on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being unhappy, 5 being extremely happy, how satisfied are you with Commissioner Jessica Berman's leadership? It's about average. If you're just listening to this, most of them are in the middle range between a 3 and a 3.5 star. There are a lot as well in the 2-star range. So only 7% gave her 4-star. None were 5-star. So very sort of middle of the road, if not bad reviews on Jessica Berman. And then the question 5, they asked, do you agree with Berman's stated goal to expand the NWSL from 16 teams to 32 teams at some point? And if not, what is the best number of teams? And 47% of them said no, 40% said yes, and 13% said unsure. Question 6, they asked, which city should the NWSL expand into? 27% said Atlanta. Duh. I mean, it's happening.
Duh.
20% said Cincy, Miami, 13%, Austin, 13%, Philly, 7%. 20% said unsure on that one. Another question, in the last year's survey, GMs felt that coaches and staffs were too vulnerable to player accusations and lacked the protections of their jobs. Do you feel the league has adequately addressed those concerns? 40% saying no, 40% saying yes, and 20% unsure. I mean, we could go on. There's even more questions, but I just want to kind of hit those. I think the really interesting one to me, well, let's start at the top with this one about, do they think that other teams are breaking the salary cap rules? And 67% of them
100%.
said yes. Now, I know Haley made a lot about the fact that she would pay all of her players a decent base wage, and none of the players on our team were on, the absolute league minimum, and that she did a lot of effort to keep us within the salary cap, and having to send players out on loan, move things around, etc. But I think there are other teams that just say they do this or don't do this. I can think of teams off the top of my head. Now we just be guessing because none of this information is really given to us. There's not, released public figures on every player and how much they're paying them and what the salary cap is. It only goes internally between the clubs and the league. But my guess is somebody like Gotham might have an issue. I mean, it's speculated about. We see this in MLS where these teams are built and we question about how they're being built with so many players on so many rosters. And sometimes things are being done that aren't there. Sometimes numbers are written down and real amounts of money are actually put on paper. But Luis, what do you think about this potential that, a lot of the teams are cheating?
Just take the damn rule off. I mean, just yeah. I mean,
I mean, this
mean,
ties into the fact that 87% of them are worried about the fact that we have a salary cap and it's holding us back.
yeah. I think for the men and the women, there should be no salary cap. I mean, I think I'm a proponent of course, the team that has the most money is going to build a very good super team. But then again, you've seen super teams fall, and I think the salary caps are what are taking them. It's going to happen. What's happening in Europe? It's like you're gonna compete with the WSL. The NWSL, instead of becoming just the United States Soccer League, it's gonna become the soccer league of a very attractive league for the whole entire world. They gotta get a really good deal, not like an Apple TV deal. Like go to ESPN, go to a major streaming service, and open the wallet, and everything will fall into part. I think people wants to see stars, exciting soccer. Get rid of certain cups and try to play European teams, do European tours. I think it's going to open the Pandora's box. So I do feel like the salary cap is holding the league back 100%. Now, are people cheating? Of course, they're going to definitely they're going to look for every single major rule in the book to try to go around it. It happens in every sport. It happens in every situation possible. So I have no doubt that that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad to think about it, but we want everything to be equal, but that's not always the case. I do think that we are getting into a situation where because there is no salary cap in Europe with these big major, Champions League clubs, and they have the backing of their, larger male, counterparts that have all this history. If you think it's a team like, Man City or Chelsea, what they spend on the women's side is peanuts to them. Yes, we have that too, but with the salary cap here, it's just going to hold teams back. So I think there is a concern that it's going to lead to more and more players being priced out of like, okay, well, Europe's offering me this, and therefore I will go. I think that we shouldn't just, like, I don't hate the idea of a salary cap. In fact, I like having a salary cap, but it needs to be larger. It needs to be larger quicker, because if the European clubs, they will kind of reach a natural point where spending on women's, wages, it'll accelerate, and it might kind of taper off at a certain point. So as long as we're staying within those realms with our salary cap, then it's not going to be a problem. But I think the issue is that right now that situation is not happening. So the salary cap is starting to restrict how much we're able to offer players, and then therefore those players are going to be able to get better offers elsewhere. As long as that salary cap is kept up and kept ahead of what we feel the player demands are going to be able to build decent rosters and retain the players that you have on your roster, then I think it's not a problem. And I like a salary cap because it does keep it more even. And you don't end up in a situation where you have the WSL, which is already extremely polarized with your richest, 2 or 3 clubs, and then, your Bristol cities, whatever, at the bottom that are really struggling. I like that about American sports, but it needs to make sure that we are staying competitive, because you see, Rodman might go, which is, I'm not too concerned if we have some players moving back and forth. That's always going to be. Look how many players we have that play here who are on the national teams for Germany and
Where's
Spain
Rodman
and
going?
England and France. Maybe WSL team for Rodman because she's out of contract, and there's a lot of talk about WSL teams hitting her up. And after, Gurma and after Thompson, like, there's this angst around the league about, are we going to be losing all of our best players? I think we might lose some if the cap isn't raised, for sure. We're not going to lose the majority of them, because this is still an extremely attractive league, and still, voted by Opta today, I saw was voted the best league in women's soccer, above the WSL. So it is very attractive, but it needs to remain competitive.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think get rid of the salary cap. Let's read some comments real quick. It says here, only 5 teams in the world are in it, really. It says Chelsea, Lyon, PSG are the 3 big spenders. Barca doesn't really spend. They just get players for the name. Too many top players going to WSL, says.
Yeah.
Average
I like Shinta's point there, that it is really only just certain clubs, right? We say about Europe, but it's just like 5 or 6 clubs.
Yeah, Kim Scott says average Brad player salary is 120,000 according to Haley Carter, highest in the league. I agree. It says that's a very bad NPS. If anyone has ever worked in sales, LMS. Well, was doing fine without ramen, says Shinta. There you go. With Haley Carter leaving, and if Marta doesn't play another season, we're in trouble, says Kim Scott. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate you. I agree. Now, I do feel like, just if you multiply 120,000 times 23 players on the roster, it's about, it's 2,760,000. So,
I mean, according to Sport Track, we're currently spending 3.3, which, I mean, I know there's like that, there's allocation money and stuff that's part of that 3.5, I believe.
What happens if the Wolf said, hey, we give you a little gift here. Want to take a gift? We give you a gift of $550,000. How about that? And it's a gift. It's not it's not her salary. It's a gift. Just giving you a
that's
gift.
definitely cheating. That's some Jorge Mas stuff. We don't want to be like that, bro. No, thank you.
I'm just giving a little gift here.
This question, before we get too late into the show, I want to talk about this because it pertains to what we're talking about with NWSL. Jessica Berman, the one or between 1 and 5 scale, and most of them coming in on that sort of 3.5, some of them on the 2.5 scale. Really, like it's the vote of no confidence. The first thing when I saw this that came into my head was the Star Wars meme. And it's like, I call him a vote of no confidence on Chancellor Valorum. I want to be like, the league doesn't back you. Like, you are a commissioner, and clearly you are not thought of highly. Clearly you are not, you know, they don't have a lot of faith in Jessica, is basically what I'm trying to say. So Haley Carter for president of NWSL. Do we start it now, Luis? So the campaign start right here.
Let Haley take over right now. I mean, look, Berman is a very sweet lady. Had the pleasure of meeting her. Like she probably knits very well. She probably makes great stuff. Probably bakes really delicious cookies. She probably like cooks a great green bean casserole for Christmas. Or sorry, Thanksgiving, or probably great turkey. Or if she's vegan, great vegan brownies, or maybe vegan hot dogs. But I'm telling you, I think Vermin is a sweet lady. She's great, very people person, and with a big smile. But
She's very
clearly,
nice, but I just don't think she does a good job.
I just think that she doesn't have the vote of confidence, and I really feel we need somebody that's gung ho to make forward thinking changes. And I think Haley Carter will be a perfect fit. If you ask me, who would I like to take over the name of commissioner? Just the name commissioner and Haley Carter's picture. I just can picture it. Her with,
Yeah.
it just screams commissioner. I mean, she's a person that leads not only by example, but you could feel her aura. I mean, you could feel her aura. She's a very, she probably doesn't realize it, but yeah, she's very humble. But you feel her aura. I mean, Kaylee's present. It's go time. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
So
I'll tell you right now, if they survey this next year and she's been president of the league for a year, how confident are you? This is like 5 out of 5 stars. And is there any cheating in the league? 0%, because Haley would have been out to every single club and told them what for. All right, Luis, I'm going to leave you with a little nugget. I got some little nuggets from some sources here. Sources say Haley can't say what's happening, but when it does come out, we'll all understand. So that's what my sources tell me. So don't worry, people. It's all going to be okay. We just got to wait a little bit, and then we'll all know why this is. And we're wishing Haley success in whatever next job.
we will understand.
Yeah.
And I knew it. I mean, she's not afraid of any challenge in front of her. I mean, and if I have to give my vote of, I guarantee you did the same thing and said, "Do
Yeah.
you think Haley Carter will be a great commissioner?" I
100%.
guarantee you it's going to be, maybe there's going to be some haters.
No, I don't think. I think it's 100 out of 100.
It's going to be probably
I don't think
about
there's one
90,
GM who has the sack to say she wouldn't be a good commissioner.
100%. I mean, what she did with the Pride is, I mean, it's to stand up. And I mean, Haley Carter's team in 2 years convinced the most pride deniers of Orlando. The other podcasters that will never in their mind ever had one little itty bitty piece for pride. She made those guys come and say, "Hey, we got some news about, the Orlando Pride. Oh yeah, I know." The people started talking about the Pride. So I think she can make a huge impact if it's something bigger. So hopefully are those news, man. Hopefully You know, it's on
Yeah.
that level of big, you know?
Well, I wanted to say thank you to all the people here who came out today and joined us in the live
Almost
chat. We
100 people, man.
Kim and Shinta and Gabrielle and Pride or Die and
Miss
Volsat
Kim,
Words, Julia and One Star FC and Sige, everybody. We
Julie as
appreciate all of
well.
you so much for all your comments. I hope this helped you feel a little better. I hope this kind of group therapy session here we had to talk about our sadness of Haley leaving and, the end of the season and help you kind of feel a little bit better about what's to come. Orlando Pride is in a great place. We just got
100%.
to make sure that we get this new GM right, and then we'll be ready to roll into a new season and go again next year as hopefully once again one of the top teams in the league. If you like what you heard today, please go ahead, drop a like on the video, whether that's on YouTube or whether you're watching somewhere else. Please, we appreciate that. Drop a comment if you're watching later and you want to comment, say something nice about Haley. Tell her how much you appreciate her bringing us the first trophies. I'm sure
100%.
she'd love that. I know she watches and reads the comments and everything. So we appreciate all of you. You can follow us on social media, of course. It is at LPO_podcast on X and on we're on Blue Sky as well. You can follow us on Threads, Instagram, Facebook as Loud and Proud Orlando. Luis, I feel like this was such a big pod and such big news. The off season started with I don't know if it's a bang or kind of like the air got let out of the balloon, but we've hyped it up to dramatic level 10 straight out of the gate here with the Orlando Pride off season with some big news. And let's see how it goes from here.
Yeah, you cannot there's no one in this city that could undermine, and I think no one in this league could undermine the work that Haley and Seb and the girls, everybody, every single person, even Lucas, everybody in communications are doing for the Pride. No one can deny it. What they've done in the past 2 seasons, it's amazing on all levels for the whole sport of soccer. It's not just women's soccer, the whole sport of soccer for the city of Orlando. So I wish Haley nothing but the best. I know that she's gonna rock it. If it's to fix the hurdles that on the NWSL, that'd be fantastic. If it's the hurdles of the national team, that'd be amazing. And that's what puts smiles on our faces because we know the type of person she is, that she's gonna take it to another level. She took the pride for nothing to the promised land. Imagine what she can do to the U.S. women's national team or to even the league. So amazing. There's amazing things are moving up. We'll be definitely covering what's happening next. Who are the choices after Haley? Who are the candidates of potential departures, arrivals? We'll still cover. You'll still have your Pride Pod even the off season. So just don't. We're not going away, unless obviously for the holidays we may go away for a little bit, but then we'll be back. I know for a fact. So thank
I
you,
want to I
that
want to
watched.
end with this comment, Luis, from Kim.
Yeah, it's just Miss Kim is proud of our pride. That's right, proud of our pride, and it
Proud
was
of our
great.
pride indeed.
Yep, it was great to see everybody at the semis, all the new faces as well. And again, we wish you the best, Haley, and thank you for everything. And vamos, Pride. Have a good one,
Thanks,
guys.
guys. Vamos, Pride.
Take care. What do you like?